bookish people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. In today's video we are going to be going over my favorite books that contain the found family trope. These books I feel have done the found family trope best. This is one of my favorite tropes in books, and I think the reason why is because one, it's so wholesome because you have these group of strangers. Sometimes they come from different walks of life. They come together and they form this family-like bond with each other. They love and they support each other. They're there for each other emotionally. They lift each other up. And it's just like this giant friend group where there's just love and positivity, and I just absolutely love it. Of course, there's also drama in the found family trope because there is no family without drama, but it's just something that is really wholesome, and it's something that I just love to see in books. A lot of these books I'm going to show you are 5-star reads of mine because, like I said, it is one of my favorite tropes. So if you have a book that has done the found family trope well, please drop them in the comments because I'm always looking for more recommendations. The first book on my list is Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I absolutely love this book. This is my favorite Frederick Bachman book. Granted, I've only read 2 of them, but this is the favorite out of them. You're following this group of people that go to an apartment showing, and across the street there is a bank, a cashless bank, where somebody goes to rob the bank. But of course, like, the robbery is not very successful because it is a cashless bank. They call the cops anyway. The robber is on the run, and the robber goes to this apartment setting and basically takes all these people who are touring this apartment hostage. So they're in this hostage negotiation with the police, but the majority of the story takes place within this apartment, and all these strangers kind of coming together, talking about their life experiences, and it is just, it's nothing what you think it's going to be like. My idea of what this book was going to be like, just reading the synopsis, and what the book turned out to be are just wildly different. I just love the group of strangers in here because you have these people from all different walks of life, all different ages, all the different points in their life, all going through like different struggles or similar struggles, and it's just really beautiful to see them come together and relate to each other and give each other advice, and just like the way they really do form a family in these few hours that they're spending together. I read this book via audiobook, but as soon as I finished it, I immediately went out and bought a physical copy because I needed it for my shelves. I needed to have it on my shelves so I could just walk into my library, open the book, and just randomly start reading random passages in a book. And that's why I will always buy like 5-star reads. I'll buy physical copies of them because it's not necessarily that I want to read the whole book. I just need to have them on my shelf, so if I'm feeling any type of way, I could just come into my library, open to a page, and just kind of start reading and just getting back into that world. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but this is one of my favorite books to do that with, and all the characters are amazing. Also, fun fact, this also has a TV show that is on Netflix, so after you're done reading it, you can go watch the TV show. The next book we're going to talk about is The Lost Ticket by Freya Sampson. When you think of books that give you a warm, fuzzy feeling, this book should be at the top of your list because it's at the top of my list, and it's actually blurbed by Ali Hazelwood on the top, which we all know. I love Ali Hazelwood, and usually I don't take blurbs seriously, but this one is so accurate to what the book is like. It says, Freya Sampson's writing is like a feel-good magical potion made of everything that's beautiful in life. This book is my happy place. And this book, I can't even tell you the happiness I felt reading this book, the joy I felt reading this book. I highly recommend the audiobook because the audiobook narrator did an amazing job. In this book, you're following our main character, Libby, and she is kind of down on her luck right now. She just got out of a breakup, and she goes to move back in with her sister, and she takes the bus. And while she's on the bus, she meets an elderly man named Frank, and Frank and her get into a conversation, and he tells her he has been riding the same exact bus, the same exact route every day to find a long-lost love of his. When he was in his 20s, he was on the bus, and he met this beautiful, wonderful woman, and she gave him his phone number on a piece of paper, but he lost the paper, hence the title, The Lost Ticket, and he's been riding this bus every day to find her because he's like, no, like, this girl is the love of my life. And now he's an elderly man, and Libby is so touched by this story. She's like, oh my god, Frank, I'm gonna help you find the love of your life. So it's about Libby and Frank going to find his long-lost love, but throughout the story you get a cast of characters together. We have Frank's caretaker Dylan, and him and Libby strike up a relationship, and this book is just such a beautiful, heartwarming book. Like, I can't even tell you how much this book means to me, how happy this book made me, and just doing this video and talking about it makes me want to reread it right now. The next book we're going to talk about is kind of similar to The Lost Ticket, and that is Iona Iverson's Rules for Commuting by Claire Pooley. This is another really amazing feel-good story about strangers coming together. So in this book, you are following our main character Iona, and she takes the same train to work every day, and so do all her other fellow commuters, but they never speak to each other. They just see each other every day, but they don't really know each other until one day one of them chokes on a grape, and one of them happens to be a nurse and helps them stop choking on a grape by giving them the Heimlich maneuver, and then that sparks a conversation between all the commuters, and then they all form this like beautiful friendship and found family. This book is the definition of an eclectic group of people coming together, different walks of life, different backgrounds, all coming together and forming this really beautiful, loving, supportive relationship with each other and friendship with each other. And then they do things with each other outside the train, outside the commute. This is such a fun, feel-good novel, and it really just makes me wish that more of the world could be this way, where all these strangers could just come together and love each other. If these books were anything close to reality, we would be living in a much better world. And of course, I have some Ellen Hilderbrand novels in here because Ellen Hilderbrand knows how to do the found family trope very well. And the first one we're going to be talking about is The Hotel Nantucket. This is her 2022 release. I know, I haven't read her 2023 release yet, but this was her 2022 release. In this book, you are following our main character, Lisbeth, and she has been hired by this billionaire who bought this resort, right? And he is trying to fix up this resort. It's called the Hotel Nantucket because his goal is to get 5 keys, which is something that this hotel reviewer does. And she has never given 5 keys to any hotel before. And since he's a billionaire, he's like, I don't even care if this hotel makes money. I'm going to throw all my money at this hotel because I want to be the only person in the world that has received these 5 keys. This story really focuses on Lisbeth bringing these employees together, getting the hotel to the place that the billionaire wants it to be at. It's a beautiful story of these employees and hotel guests all just coming together because they're all stuck in the same place, and just how they form these beautiful friendships with each other. And this book was so good. It was my first Ellen Hilderbrand novel, and I rated it 5 stars. And the last Ellen Hilderbrand books I'm going to talk about is a trilogy, and that is the Winter in Paradise trilogy. And there's 3 books in the series, obviously, but I don't own the second one because I thrifted these 2. Once I thrift the second one in hardcover, we will add it to the collection. Throughout the series, you're following our main character, Irene, and she is married to a man named Russ, but in the first book, he dies on New Year's Day in the Virgin Islands on a private plane with his mistress, and she is super confused. She's like, what was he doing in the Virgin Islands? This doesn't make sense. When she goes to the island to sort everything out, she realizes that he was leading a double life there. He had a mistress and a daughter, so she and her 2 sons go down to the island to kind of get to know the locals and kind of figure out what he was doing on the island, what his second life was like. But this book really focuses on her and her sons going to this small island and becoming part of the local community and the friendships they form along the way. And it is a trilogy. It is so good. I think I rated every book in this series 5 stars, so if that tells you anything, there you go. I highly recommend the entire trilogy. The next book we're going to talk about is The Maid by Anita Prose. I absolutely loved this book so much. I rated it 5 stars. Although I'm showing you the physical edition of this book, I highly recommend reading this book via audiobook because our main character in this book is neurodivergent. I think the best way that her personality comes through is through the audiobook, so you can really hear the narrator and how the character is supposed to talk. But in this book, you are following our main character, Molly the maid, and she has worked at this hotel for a very long time, and one day one of her regular customers, she goes in to clean the rooms and she finds a dead body. And chaos and hilarity ensue from there. But where the found family element in this book really comes through is Molly recently lost her grandmother, so she is kind of on her own. She has no parents, and it's kind of about the hotel employees kind of rallying around her and helping her, and an older man who is friends with her grandmother who's looking out for her. It is a mystery novel, so that is the central plot to this book, but the found family trope in this book I think was done really well. Also a very character-based book, and when you get to know Molly the maid and you fall in love with her character, like, you're gonna ride for the people who love her and you are gonna hate the people that are haters on her. So this book I absolutely recommend, and I rated it 5 stars. Another mystery book, this one is more of a cozy mystery, and that is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I absolutely love this book. In this book, you are following these 4 senior citizens that are part of this retirement community, and they have formed this club called the Thursday Murder Club, where they solve cold cases. But in the first book, there is a real active murder that happens to the developer of their community, and they are on the case. They're like, F the cold cases, let's go after this real case. We are going to solve it. They get involved with the police. I just love these 4 older people coming together. Yes, they have family outside of this community, but within the community, they've really developed a family with each other. The mystery plot to this novel is very intriguing, but the friendships in this book are very heartwarming as well. There's everything you could want in this book. There's comedy, there's mystery, and there's just like a heartwarming friendship at the center of it. Can we even talk about the found family trope without mentioning Spy Family? What I really love about this series, it's kind of a mix between the found family trope and the fake dating trope, because you have this family and they're not really a real family. So you're following Lloyd, who is a spy, and for his next mission, he needs to infiltrate this private school because his next target, his son goes to this private school, and the guy only shows his face within the school. So he needs to get in there, but he doesn't have a family, so how is he going to get in? So he goes to an orphanage and he adopts a daughter named Anya, and she is a telepath, but he doesn't know that she's a telepath, but she knows that he's a spy because she can read his mind. And to complete the family, now he needs a fake wife, so he needs a lady named Yor, and she is a secret assassin, but he does not know that she's an assassin. But she's like, oh perfect, this guy wants a fake marriage. This will help me keep my cover. No one will know that I'm an assassin if I am a happily married woman with a child. So they create a fake family, and that's why I say it's really like the found family trope had a baby with the fake dating trope, and it resulted in this, and it is an absolutely amazing story. I absolutely love this manga series, and I highly recommend watching the anime after you read the series. And of course, we have to throw a romance novel in here, and no romance novel has done the found family trope better than One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. In this book, you are following our main character, August, and she has recently moved to New York, and she moved there alone. She has no friends or family there, but she does move in with these roommates who become her found family. And then she meets a girl on the train named Jane. She's like, oh my god, this is the prettiest girl I've ever seen. And they start talking on the train, and they just kind of form this beautiful relationship with each other. And then Jane gets to know the roommates as well, and it's all one big happy family that I just absolutely love this book, and I rated it 5 stars. The next group of books I'm going to talk about is a series, and that is the Serpent and Dove series by Shelby Maharin. I would say out of the trilogy, the book that did the found family trope best is the last book, Gods and Monsters. Like, when I think found family, I think Gods and Monsters. I don't necessarily think the first two as much. I mean, it is in there, but this one I think is the one that does it best. But of course, in order to read this one, you have to read the first two first. So let's just go over the synopsis for the first book. In this book, you are following our two main characters, Reed and Lou. And Lou is a witch, Reed is a witch hunter, and they got into this situation in front of a lot of people that kind of forces them to get married with each other. And he doesn't know that she's a witch, but obviously she knows she's a witch hunter, so she's trying to hide her identity from him. The two main characters, their families honestly just suck, okay? They're not great, so they really rely on their friends to form those familial bonds, and their friendships are just so beautiful because they're just those friendships. It's like where we love and we support each other, and to the extent where it's like, I would do anything for you, like whatever you need of me, if you need me to risk my life for you, I will do it. And it's not just in a romantic sense between the two main characters, but it's that way between all the friends because they just love each other and they are their own family. And it is just such a fun time. Again, I would say it is the most prevalent in Gods and Monsters, but again, you just have to read the whole journey to get to Gods and Monsters. And there definitely is found family elements in the first and second book as well, but this one has done it best. Ending this video on a high note, we're going to talk about my favorite fantasy book. And not only is this my favorite fantasy book, but it's also a fantasy book that has done the found family trope so well. And that is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. In this book, you are following our main character, Tress, and the love of her life gets kidnapped by an evil sorceress. So Tress has to go rescue him. And the adventure that Tress goes on, she ends up on a pirate ship. And the relationship between her and all the pirates on deck, and the friendship and the family that forms between all these pirates and Tress, is just so wholesome. It's so feel good, and you just want to be part of the crew, okay? I'm reading this book, I'm like, can I get on this pirate ship? I just absolutely love Tress as a main character. She is a strong, independent female main lead. All the characters on the pirate ship are also super lovable as well. And even the ones you're not supposed to like, you do like them in a sense because they add tension, they add something to the story that makes them interesting characters. And I just absolutely highly recommend this book. I rated it 5 stars, and I feel like I've talked about this book quite a lot on my channel, but that's because any recommendation video I have, or anytime I'm thinking about what books I would love to recommend, this is always going to be on the list because I have not found a fantasy book that I love more than this. So as you can tell, if a book does the trope well, I will rate it 5 stars because it is my all-time favorite trope. It's just warm and fuzzy and wholesome, and I just love strangers coming together, and I just wish we could have the found family trope in real life, because I think if we had that trope in real life, everybody would just be nicer people to each other, and we wouldn't have so much hate in the world. I think that's another reason why I love this trope so much. Like, all these like people from different walk of lives coming together and just loving and supporting each other. I just don't think there's anything more beautiful than that. So thank you guys for watching this video. Subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!